Okay, well, welcome back to Zoom. We've been away for a while. The purpose of this is we've got several teachers across the state who are struggling with enrollment needs. Partially, well, the world's a little different than it was 3 years ago, and getting students into our classes tends to be a little more challenge than what we've had in the past. And we're getting smaller numbers, especially those with are just pure architecture, pure mechanical design. Our numbers are dwindling as teachers, and the reality is there's no one taking our place. So we need to somehow rekindle the excitement for what we do, and maybe get the excitement into the students as well. And a lot of that has to do with the way we conduct our classes and how we present material to students. So I think I'd want to start with just asking what are the challenges you're facing in your classrooms, and what have you done that has successfully overcome some of those challenges, or if not, how you feel if you're being successful now. Just kind of open it up to that.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Jennifer.
Yeah, so my numbers are dwindling too, but I've been trying to input more project-based stuff where they're building and constructing instead of all the theory and drawings, I would say. But I push them pretty hard like the first term and do all the kind of curriculum stuff, and then the second term I do all the projects with them. So by the time they get done with the semester, they're kind of on a high, and then they want to take the next semester. Okay. So, but still, to get numbers in my classes, it's still a struggle.
Right. Okay, so you're starting with those. Kind of like what you're doing. I think projects are really kind of important part there. Let's see what else people have to say, and then I'll answer all those.
I have one. I'm down in Southeast Utah, and we just struggle with competing against classes, which I think a lot of other people are also in that same boat. We don't offer very much at my school, but it has everything to do with the master plan. So there's like one session of architecture. And so that's been a struggle of putting CTE first in our school, which I think the more we can get on board with the state pushing it, that's helpful. My numbers are actually going up, but it's taken 5 years to get the kids to even know what architecture is and to be interested. So I think anything like Jennifer's doing that's out in the public, including from the state CTE, that can be public push for it is helpful.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
I'm Brad. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
My microphone's kind of janky on this computer. But I'm up in Park City. This is my first year at the high school level. Teaching computer-aided CAD Mech 1 and another CAD Mech 1 this semester, another CAD Mech 1 next semester. But the more projects we can do, the better with the kids. They're way more engaged with that. And like Jennifer said, I spent the first quarter like diving into just the basic drawing stuff, and then introduced 2 or 3 projects the second quarter. For more projects, and it's finding a way to integrate those earlier to just keep them more engaged.
Okay. Appreciate that. Anybody else want to jump in? We'll kind of see where the state is here. Well, the state of our students, not necessarily the state. The state of Utah's a mess, but we'll figure that out later. All right, so we're at kind of a crucial point right now in that these 6 courses, the CAD Mechanical 1, 2, and 3, and Architecture 1, 2, and 3, are all up for review this year. Some here may have gotten invited on that committee. I did not, so that's okay. I don't need to be in everything, but we have a chance to maybe put some things out there. How many of you are teaching the GD&T and mechanical? Are any of you teaching that? Jennifer is. So I've been taking kids to different manufacturing facilities. I have yet to find anybody using GD&T in the Valley of Salt Lake. Everything's going from software directly to the CNC machines. And so hopefully if you're on those committees, you could maybe whittle that down to a brief pause of here's what it was and here's where we're going.
Is
Most
that
of
on the third level?
yeah,
No, I don't teach the third level.
I
Sorry.
don't think it's third. It's introduced in
No.
the second with limits and tolerancing.
Yeah, that's
that
all
is
I'm doing.
about the extent that MBA is using, because the software now compensates for all the material shrinkage already. So that's something that we can maybe help pull some of those kids in those higher classes instead of just have all the fun and then drive them away at the end so they don't even go into the profession. What I find with my students is if I talk about a gasket, they have no idea what I'm talking about. If I ask them about a piston, there might be a few that think of it in terms of car engines, but that's it. If you talk about bearing, skateboarders get it. That's about it. So I think what's kind of happened is a lot of our curriculum has stayed the way it was traditionally and not really kept up with what the kids' understanding that area is. Even architecture has changed drastically in the last few years to where we're doing a lot more fabricated homes with SIP walls and even 3D printed walls that the students don't really see where we're going with it. And especially this last year with housing prices, my students during that was all going on last year completely felt deflated that they would never ever own a house. That kind of takes the wind out of a lot of ourselves. So what I'm hoping we can do is maybe come up with some projects that are fun to do that will move the kids into thinking about where they could go with the next level. So architecturally, one of the things that really kind of sparked the interest this last week is Icon Industries was given a $450 million grant from NASA to build housing on the moon using molten rock instead of concrete, because there's no water on the moon to mix concrete, and to do that all robotically from Texas. That's kind of where architecture is going to move. So things like that kind of excite them, but we're still getting the thing that I think a lot of us don't know enough about the software using to do the things the kids want to do. Is that kind of, am I getting on the right beat there? Everybody's a pro at Revit and ArchiCAD and Chief Architect and SoftPlan and AutoCAD. You've got that all mastered? I don't. I wish I did, but I don't.
Revit and AutoCAD, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so one of the things that we stumbled across today in my class with Revit is how do you do a curve cut in your driveway so that you get the radius and the beveled edge at the same time? Can't figure out how to do that. Can't figure it out. You can do it with a roof plan, but you can't do it with the floor plan. So so what I've done is what projects are your winners with your students? What do you do that your kids want to do every year that you haven't been burned out on and that seem to be the excitement of your school? Do you have anything like that?
All right, since nobody's going, I'll jump in.
All
So mechanical one, we do cardboard box cars where they make them out of cardboard and duct tape and dowels. And we have a race at the end of the semester. That's like the end project. So it takes about 10 class periods for them to build that. CAD 2, that's SolidWorks. And so I have them do the lightsaber, which you've been doing. They love that. And in architecture, I do like the TSA competition at the very end of the first semester, and then just the floor plan. So it gives them some designing after we teach them the software. And then the second semester, they design their own house. And then we do all the same plans, but just with their design.
Okay. And that seems to build some excitement. How are you doing anything two-dimensionally?
I only do 2-dimension in CAD 1 with AutoCAD.
And do you do the full semesters 2D?
Yeah. Yep.
And are you retaining all those students?
A lot, yeah, because then they want to get to the 3D.
Okay.
So yep.
That's the hook. Okay. Cool. Who else has anything they'd like to share?
In CAD Mech 1, we made little, I don't know if you can see these, it's a little tiny.
Okay,
dragsters,
the little CO2,
laser cut,
oh,
laser cut dragsters.
okay.
You can
Are
see
you
that
putting,
okay.
are they rubber band or are they CO2 or
CO2.
CO2s?
That was our ending project this semester. So
Okay. That's very cost effective too.
Yeah.
3D printing those little suckers costs a little bit of
oh,
money.
it costs a lot of money. It takes a lot of
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah, it does take a lot of time.
Yeah. basswood and balsa wood.
Okay, that's a good idea. I haven't thought of doing the laser cut one, so that's a good way to.
I just bought the one from Pittsco and showed it to the kids. I made my own model and they went from there.
I went from there. Okay, that's a really good way to change that is. So, okay, anybody else got anything you're kind of playing around with? And I'll go through a few ideas with you. Maybe.
We also made like a little solar light box out of plastic. Like the
And-
solar lights you can buy on Amazon are about $2. And they just made
Okay.
had to be 6 inches by 6 inches.
So it's
and-
a solar flashlight.
Kind of, yeah. But it was a
Obviously, that's
clear
surrounding-
plastic, clear translucent plastic.
Okay, that's cool.
And laser cut it.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. And do you have lesson plans written up on that?
I have some stuff that's
Preliminary
on
stuff,
Canvas
yeah.
that I can share to that folder and some
Okay,
photos.
pretty cool. All right. Anybody else willing to share, have anything to share? All right. Well, knowing that this is gonna be a need and partially to speak, I did this for Jennifer really, because I don't want her to go away. So that's kind of what we're doing here. And I think this is kind of appropriate now as we all kind of get ready for winter conference. Our trainings at winter conference have sucked for the last 6 years. They've been really poor. And so I'm working to get High Country Technologies now a SolidWorks reseller or retailer. They're bringing some trainers, get our SolidWorks skills where they need to be. And I know some of you are still doing Inventor because it's cost. Let me give you a little heads up of what's coming. Autodesk is hiring sales agents for education. The last time they did this in 1997, the cost for AutoCAD went up to $100,000 per school district. So it's the cycles come back around again, and their stock and the profits have been down the last few years. So be ready for Autodesk products to start costing soon, probably the next 2 to 3 years. So just a heads up on that little bit of wonderment news out of the world of finance. But keep them in mind. They have their full training set up there with High Country. I know a lot of you use them for lasers and 3D printers and so forth. So keep that as a resource. And they do a little screen share and show you a few of the things that I put in the folder that I shared you a link with. This is my 2D tangent cat. It's a little bit not a gear. It's not a widget. It's not some shape that nobody knows what it goes to or how it works. It's a cat. For the girls in the class, this is a huge winner. And then we can go and we can cut it on the laser. We can do some acrylics and make it into something a little more pizzazzy. And that's just in the 2D class. So it makes it a little more approachable, and it's not super over the top, but there's not one straight line on that. Well, the ears are a little straight, but that's about it. Other things that are in here, there's a little whale for you. Just some things that are going to help get your kids a little less tied down by the technical side of things. I'll just kind of flip through a few of these. Some of these turn out to be really nice to take on to that next level and go ahead and 3D print them and go and do the extrudes and make the links and make them chain out. It does they need things in their hands. You've all talked about projects. They've got to carry out something in their hands, and even architecturally, something in their hands. So my Architecture 3 class, and I haven't put this in there yet because I'm still in the development. My Architecture 3 class, the second quarter of the semester, we build desktop Zen fountains. So literally get the little water pump. It's all out of concrete. They have to design it, make the molds. They have to mix the concrete. They can color the concrete. They have to seal the concrete. They just work with concrete for a full quarter. And they design these little architectural desktop fountains. That has been the big winner for my architectural kids. I can't afford to make them all 3D printed models of the house or even take the time to cut them all out in laser models for 30 kids. It's just, I do have, I need more than 3 hours of sleep, just a little bit. But that's kind of where, what this folder has, or the shared, is all these just things. This one doesn't have anything more than just reproduce the same thing over and over again. So these are just some things in there that might help get the kids in and working. My big thing I'm finding is when they get to us, they have very little understanding of geometry because they don't even know when they're taking geometry. It's so woven into the 4 years of math in school, they don't understand the concept of shape and form and how to get that to work, which hurts architecture, it hurts the mechanical design. So these are some of the things that are in there. They're kind of fun. Everything goes good with transformers. And there's a mixture of metric and imperial. So that kind of helps to wean them onto some of these things. Because we always see them make things that they haven't done. By the way, these numbers do not match the official logos, so they do not have copyright problems. So just so you kind of know that. So there's those kind of things. That's the 2D assignments. The 3D ones are just about as crazy on there. See what's like the favorite good one here. Oh, I don't know. We'll just pop one open. We got some of the brackets here, but they get a little more here. I think we've all seen the arbor presses and the caster wheels, and personally, I get bored with assignments faster than the kids do. So I'm trying to come up with things that they can kind of relate to that still have some challenge to them. But again, my big part is now I'm moving into molds. I do that right into the second class, start making molds. And so within SolidWorks, I'm pretty sure Inventor has the same thing. There, you can make a subtracted mold, a negative mold, and print those out. Now, you may not have to have, you don't have to have a fancy injector, but if you can make anything into a mold, any shape they've done from the first class to the second, have them plan out where the flow areas and air release, you can melt wax for really cheap and make a wax mold that then gives them something to make tangible rather than taking the time to 3D print every little thing. You do different molds and then everyone can mix and match and share what they've made. If you want to take it one step further, you can get some investment and you can cast that into aluminum. And you just simply gather up all the freaking cans in the school and melt them down. Really quick, easy, free stuff. The melt temperature on aluminum is 650 degrees. So you can get a little electric kiln and just cook your way to heaven there, I guess. By the way, make sure you're vented. Fumes from aluminum are toxic to your brain cells, so don't inhale deeply on that. But it is a way to kind of do it, or you can go with the resins and do resins. Resins are a little pricier, they're safer for the kids. You don't have the exhaust coming off of them, but it does kind of help getting some things in there so they know why we're doing what we do. The same happens with math. Why do you do the quadratic? I don't know. Why does your teacher say? She doesn't know. Well, then why are we learning the quadratic equation if no one's using it? Obviously, there's people that are using it, but if they don't know why they're doing something, that kind of hurts our numbers as well. We get people popping in here. So the 3D's got a few of these things in there that are, some are a little more exciting than others. Some are gun parts. That's kind of cool. One of the projects I'm working on right now is doing multi-parted grenades. I know it's grenades. So they design a grenade. They have to pick a grenade from either the east or the west. They have to look up the dimensions of it. We make it. It has to be made in a minimum of 4 parts. It has to be hollow. It has to be able to hold at least a rolled up dollar bill. And then it has to be connected with a cotter pin. So they get a cotter pin and they 3D print their grenade, and that is where they then hide their mad money. And it cannot be printed in any color like black, gray, or green. It has to be yellow, pink, red, or blue. So we make sure we're not doing anything that could be construed as stupid, which it's still stupid, but it holds their attention. Okay. So things like that. And then obviously you've got to put in some of these that are a little more boring, but if you can take parts off of things they know skateboards, they know their bikes, they know things they carry around, their iPods that are, and they don't have iPods anymore, those are gone. iPhones, they know those kind of things. So there's a lot of here to go through, a really lot of things to go through here. I do have differences between the 3D CAD and 3D printed. I'm not going to print everything for them. And again, hopefully you'll add to some of these as well. And I'll put some more in here. The whistle. This is a huge winner on this. It's based off of a carved whistle out of a jewelry class. So I stole it from the jewelry teacher. I used the dimensions on the wooden whistle, and they 3D print the whistle out. You do have a couple things you have to be aware on this one. You do have to have them sign a waiver. If they blow this whistle at any sporting event, that's a $10,000 fine to each school. So that's by the state athletic commission. So you make sure they understand that. These are safety whistles. They sound exactly like a coach's whistle when they're done. And but the kids like it, and they have a lot of fun with it, and it's something that they can relate to. That's a big thing that we're hopefully moving towards, is something along the three print whistle. And you can expand this out. Once the kids do this, they get a second print, and I usually get things like recorders and flutes and all kinds of things start coming out of there. They start playing with what happens with air in that chamber, and they start asking those questions. Why does air make the sound, and how does it go? So that's there for you. Hopefully that works. The CO2 car's there, but I think I like Brad's better. That's a lot faster to cut Baltic birch than if you can get it. I don't know if you guys are struggling with supply, but Baltic birch is nowhere to be found in Salt Lake right now on there, but that's okay. We'll work that out. Then I gave you a folder here as well as architectural projects. It's not much, but I did give you a few things that might get you started in there. My commercial project has been kind of successful. There's a dentist's office that they tend to like. These have evolved out of different competitions. The dentist office is from NAWIC. TSA then did one similar to that a few years ago. There's can't remember what this one is now, to be honest with you. Oh yeah, the Community Resource Justice Center. This is a great one. So if you're in one of those really rough cities, you can design a place where kids can go and meet the judge and have a little study session and all that stuff. But it does give you the full, basically a rubric, if you will, for what has to be in that set of drawings. Another one that I've done that I'm in the middle of finishing the write-up for this next semester is I'm gonna have them design the ideal dorm. And what that means is they're going to design a dorm, has to have a minimum of 6 inhabitants, residents for each unit. They can have individual per private house rooms if they want. It has to have a communal space. It has to have a space for study. It has to have a store on the lower floor. So either that can be a clothing store, it could be a deli, it could be a cafe. And then the building has to take its inspiration from the state school they're choosing's logo. So they have to figure out what the logo is for the school and then how to design around it. That turns out to be pretty good. So I'll put that right up in here in just probably about a couple of days. I'll have that one finished up and add that to it for you. Hopefully that helps a little bit there. Inside of here, I know it's kind of old, but I did give you some template. Well, I give you a template. This is the template I use. It's got the layers are already set up for each level of the building. Basement, first floor, second floor, has your top of walls, your top plates, has a whole bunch of stuff already in the template file for you, if you can use that. So you're welcome to have that. It's taken a few years to get that developed. So that's a Revit template. Feel free to rename it and make it yours. I know some of you look for lots and plots. So here are some subdivisions that you can use. There are some that are really complicated 6-sided lots, and there's a good old safe square-sided lots. Yeah, long day. And then one of the things that I've done is I pulled out, these are all layer standards, line weights, layers for different firms throughout the state. Some are AAA driven, some are just different offices I've been involved with to kind of help you work that out. There's FFKR standards. Most of them might know FFKR, so they're willing to share that. So there's some things there. Your font heights to scale, for those doing AutoCAD. getting your font to the right height. There's a chart here that I have used my entire career that tells you if you're at this scale, here's your font height, and don't do the math. No one likes to do math. So that's there for you to use. And then some layers there that I've typically used. So feel free to take that and run with that if you want. Abbreviations that are there. What else have we given you here? Heat loss calculations. I know we don't do them anymore, but I've come to the conclusion that lead sucks. There's no real good thing about leads other than it's a bureaucratic nightmare of paperwork that means nothing. But what I want with this is good old heat loss calculations. What size furnace do I need? That's more important to me than being energy efficient by some standards. So this is one that I've also used for a long, long time. It's set up, the formulas are already built into it. You can plug in your square footage, your volume, and it will calculate out the BTUs your furnace needs to have when you're all finished with that. So hopefully that'll be something you can add in to give them real world things they can apply and use. That's kind of my hope for you. And one other thing I did pop in there, I gave some projects. I got the 3-bedroom, just standard little 3-bedroom. I think, Jennifer, this is yours. Then there's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Then there's an ADU project. It's a studio, tiny house, basically, if you will. Now, an ADU is not like a tiny house. An ADU has a foundation and full utilities. Most of our counties are moving towards that as we're getting overcrowded. So this is kind of a real thing that they could actually design a house to build in their mom and dad's backyard and stay there forever and ever. But it's just a little studio. You could expand that out and add 1, 2, or 3 bedrooms to that on that design. It is, I took that out of Los Angeles. So it's an approved California plan, whatever that means. So you're welcome to that as well. At least if you're trying to do something small. I know a lot of you are doing AutoCAD for maybe a quarter or half a quarter, and then you're jumping into Revit because there's so much to cover there. So that's just a nice little small house. And if you want others, I do have other plans. Really simple little studio apartment. What happened with my students this last year is we did this studio and this became the basis of their dorm project, which was pretty brilliant. They ended up with all 6 tenants having their own kitchen, which I think is brilliant. If you're ever shared a kitchen with 6 guys, that's just a brilliant way to go. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea. So that's in there for you. What else did I give you? More. Just want more. Other things that are, I just gave you some fun shapes. So kids always said, well, can't we do something fun? And so we have, you know, just some fun shapes. You got a duck, you got Batman. I think Batman's back in there. Superman, because after that, again, just things that the kids that want to can kind of push these a little bit. I just think they're fun to have and do. So that's what I provided. I'll add more as I finish them up, make them so they're not teacher notes, but they're lessons that you can use and follow. What are things that you guys see that you need? What can I help find and provide for you? What are your needs? And I'm going to stop the share here from that. Oh, we got a lot more people here now. What are some things that I can help you get that you feel you need? That's an awful big question.
In particular with me, with Revit, I would love to see, and I don't teach architecture right now, but I do teach architecture engineering capstone, just more familiar. Just I want to be more familiar with Revit. I'm using it here and there, but having like a basic project, like step-by-step YouTube tutorial for your ADU or for your dorm project or something like that.
So just a good step-by-step, do a full Revit project, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put one together or find some. I'll throw those in.
I can
I've
also
got some
save out
Revit
my
videos.
curriculum and, oh, sorry. I can
Go
also
ahead.
save out my curriculum too. And it's got the video tutorials and that.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good. Okay, thank you, Jennifer.
I have some videos on YouTube.
Okay.
Oh, you know what?
You
You
know
said
what?
Revit, right?
That's okay.
I
Are
might
yours in
have one or
AutoCAD?
two. Yeah.
Are yours, what are yours in, Dave?
Fusion 360. I think I have one in Revit, some in
Okay.
Inventor,
Okay.
just kind of all
Well,
over the place.
I have found that the more cross software driven we make kids, the more successful they become. The more they, because once you figure out the core of all the Boolean commands in CAD, you can jump platforms relatively quickly. And the downside, if you're in the world long enough, I get thinking, I'm teaching a Revit class and I start thinking ArchiCAD. And there's things that ArchiCAD does way better than Revit does. And I want Revit to do it and it won't. And that gets a little frustrating, but I don't think there's any problem with people getting more cross-platformed. I think that's a good thing because there's some things that just work better on different platforms. Let's see, I think I see, yeah. Hey, Tim Benson, are you able to speak?
I try not to. Oh, look, I'm upside down.
Oh, well, there we go. That's because you're in Vegas or something stupid, right?
That was last week.
Oh, yeah, okay. Do you want to do a plug-in for our pirate conference?
Oh, hey, can I share my screen?
Yeah, they may make you so you can. Hang on. You gotta work
Okay.
around 2 firewalls.
Okay.
Yep. You can now.
All right, let me see if I can do this. How do I do that now? Share my screen. That says breakout rooms.
Don't do those.
I know. I don't do enough of these anymore to figure this out. So hang on. Okay, where's my, oh, there it is, share screen. Huh. That's what I want. Share. All right, so we've been doing a summer pirate sharing conference, basically to get everybody together and basically pile up and get all of our stuff shared between us. Right now, we're looking at right after school gets out, I think is what we've talked about, but we can move it around because, you know, I just host it here at Canyon View. And I want to get it set up so we can literally get all of our stuff aligned between the various platforms so that we have like platform free mechanical projects and platform free architectural projects that we can just get all of our kids on the same page, like build a common vocabulary for all the architecture terms. I love when I start teaching my kids and say, okay, what's a lavatory, what's a water closet, etc. And the kids are like, well, that's a vanity. No, the vanity is the cabinet. You know, so we have to break. So I want to make sure we all got everybody on the same page. I thought it'd be a nice thing a couple of years ago because we don't get to get together like we used to. But this is the one I'm working on right now. It's in draft form. What the plan is, and if I could get my screen to let me, oh gosh dang it, there it is. Last year's plan looked like this. We went through and did some basic house reviews using Revit, cross sections, did some ArchiCAD work for those that do ArchiCAD. Talked about LEED and why does it exist? I tend to agree with Tom on that one. It's just a nightmare to sort stuff through. Mechanical. Okay, looking at it, how many of you use GD&T at all?
Yeah, we kind of talked about that.
Yeah. My guys here, my manufacturers, they want the CAD files and they want the solid models, and they take it and they run it through their cut paths and they spit it out, and they don't want GD&T on it. They'll cut it exactly how it's modeled.
Yeah, Tim, before you got in, I was telling them that's what I'm finding up here with the manufacturers in the north. Same thing.
Yep.
They're maybe using a few limits, but they're using machine tolerancing on their what they're printing on.
Yeah, my guys, my machinist down here, just like, give us the solids. We'll stick it in and we'll cut it exactly how you drew it.
Yeah.
So,
Tim.
but yeah, I'd love to see as many of us as we can. I want to build a database, a common quiz platform where all of us can say, okay, here's the questions that align to the state core. Here's how we can prep all of our kids for our various skills certification tests, and have just literally, like, we used to have a test bank way back when Dirt was young, but the tests have changed so much and they hold them so tight to their chest. None of us know what's on it really. You know, none of us, unless you were on the test or anything, and you can't share that, know what's on the test, but we could take the data we have, the information we have, and compile good questions so our kids don't get surprised. And that's what I'd like to do with this. So if you're interested, let me look at my inbox. I've got, not my inbox, my calendar. We talked about, and I talked to my principal about when I could use the school. And right now, and we can move it around, like I said, right now we're looking at like the 6th and 7th of June would be a great day for us. Basically because some of the summer game stuff will be here and the school will be wide open anyway, so it's not a problem getting access to the building and stuff. So if you're interested, we'd love to see it. I'll try to get that listserv from Tom and send you an invite.
Yep, I can get that to you.
Cool. That's all I got.
Okay, thanks for sharing. Appreciate that. All right, so what, I guess going back, what do we need to help each other to be successful? Because once we're gone, there is no replacements for us. So we've got to either inspire kids to take our place or keep ourselves engaged for the long haul. And I know Kent and Jennifer both put courses onto the Campus Commons. I know there's stuff there from the old Tice that Tim and I were on, and Jennifer Bosch was on. Jennifer Bosch, were you on that, Tice? I remember who was all on there. There's a bunch of us, so hopefully that will be of some value to you. Anyway, what are your needs, I guess? What are your struggles in your school? What are you having the kids are not or doing or not doing? I know mine just sit there and stare at white walls.
Yeah, I think if we can just compile like fun projects, if I can stick in more fun projects in and throughout, I think that would be better. I tried something this year, still trying to figure it out, but we tried like in CAPS, with Capstone, we would do an agile, which is like a 2-week sprint model. And so I broke all my semesters into 2-week sprints. And on Fridays, because our school wants us to do a tier 2 intervention. So I've been having the kids that have A's in the class do like a passion project where they design their own stuff. And then the kids that got B's and lower, then I help them either reteach or make up classroom assignments and stuff on Fridays. And so some kids have a hard time. They're like, I don't know what to design, especially if they're just starting out. So if I can give them like a folder on Canvas with like project ideas that they can like go through on themselves, maybe that would help. But I kind of like the 2-week like sprint model,
Yeah.
And then every other Friday they have like a makeup day or they can have a passion project day. So
That's cool. Yeah, passion projects can be kind of fun. I've got a lot of kids doing those little technique finger skateboards. Good luck finding wheels for those. But that's kind of fun.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I do these little Matchbox race cars,
Mhm.
and you can't find little wheels to save your life. They just don't sell them. But I've just been making them on my 3D printer with the GPU,
Okay.
and then just using like little finish nails
Oh, okay.
for the axles. And they have enough, they slide on and they, kind of like a compression fit. The hole's a little bit smaller, so it stays on the nail, and it works pretty good.
That's a good idea. I've been doing acrylic circle cuts. That's a little slicker, but I like.
I was wondering if you guys couldn't buy like packages of little buttons. And then they can
But then I still
tap
like
through the
my
center.
grandmother, and I don't want to feel like my grandmother. So
Well,
that's
Then you,
A lot of the buttons have a hole. They have 2 holes in them, and so I don't know how you get the axle in the right spot.
yeah, you got to buy
And
this
then I
whole.
tried the beads, but the beads are too small and the hole's too big. So
okay.
I wish there was a place where you could just buy some Chinese wheels, buy
Yeah.
1,000 of them in a box, but I haven't been able to come.
Yeah, I've been looking for years and haven't found those. So, but Yeah, so all those fun things. Anybody else got anything you want to add, or because it's supposed to be a communal effort here?
Hey, Tom, do you want us to just stick stuff in that,
Yeah.
in the folder that you have?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. You should have edit rights to that. And you can put them in your own folders if you want. But I think ultimately, Tim, are you still involved with UEN for another year or
Yes.
so?
Yeah,
Oh,
I've got
cool.
2 or 3 more years.
Okay, so hopefully we'll get these all compiled along with, our test banks and store those with UEN so they stay open and accessible to us over the long haul. I don't know about your districts, but mine was, we were told no more textbooks, just blanket, no more textbooks. And we're told no more fundraisers, and we're told, no more course fees. And the more these no's we're getting, the harder this becomes. So having things that'll draw kids to our programs is how we're going to keep ourselves employed, but it's also how to keep our funds where they need to be. It's kind of the goal there.
So I'm currently working on a project right now. My kids are, so I bought a couple of these STEM kits,
Okay.
just, really basic STEM kits for elementary. And I noticed that most of them are just wood, 2-dimensional designs.
Yeah.
And so I have the kids reverse engineer them, and then we can cut them out on our laser cutter. And
Okay.
it's a quick project. But then I can add variables like different materials using plexiglass, wood, cardboard, foam board, all kinds of different thicknesses. So that allows them to kind of think outside the box and create some pretty cool
Okay.
stuff. Yeah.
That's kind of cool. That is really cool. Yeah. I think that's a good idea to take someone else's stuff and reverse it. It's a worthy art to do. So cool. So if you could just put in where you bought those, that would help. So most people going, well, where'd you get it? So if you could load that up or even just email me, I'll put it in there for you. So that would be a good thing. So sources of supplies is always a good thing. So thank you. That looks like the kids are having fun with that. Because I've had kids try and print 3D mazes for marble mazes, and good night, those take a lot of material.
Yeah, I've also put it out there. If they have extra time in class, they can make some like ornaments using the same method. And I've had a couple of kids take me up on the offer.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Thank you. Appreciate
Now,
that.
we've been told, like, I can't get textbooks, like you said, to save my life. So I took the old Tice stuff and I copied and pasted into extended syllabus that I use for class. It's basically my Canvas pages. So I've got that underway, but it's like, you remember with the Tice, it's a monster to try to sort out how much you've got to have there.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at, like, just for my engineering class, the extended syllabus is 90 something pages already. So
Ooh,
I think that's where we're going to have to go with it.
I think so. I think we're gonna have to create our own books and our own handouts and worksheets. And
Which I'm
And
wondering
hopefully
if we should try to get a cohort and do it again, but do it during our summer.
well,
Our
and but
professional
getting a
development
grant to do it would be good. And maybe
Yeah.
that's something we can talk on our fearlessly unknown leader, which I don't know who that is. So would that be because the Tice was done through the colleges.
Yep.
Start that up, and I don't know where we fall in with all that. Maybe we can contact Colton and see if he'll find money. But that'll be good. All right, let's see. I'm going to show you another project that's in here in the folder. This is one that has frustrated a lot of my straight run kids, meaning those that are my higher grade level. But this one really appeals to my Latino kids. The whole thing's in Spanish. I can't read a word of it. I don't know what it says, but it's all in Spanish, and it's just a good old fashioned crank toy. And there's a couple of things that they need to catch on to on this. If you look at the drawings, most of you probably figured it out already. They have to produce this so it's manufacturable, and they have to build it. So it's a combination of wood and 3D printed parts. All the parts are there. They're all dimensioned. They're all metric. They have to figure out the body, the dog, and the bone, and then they have to figure out the problem. And this one frustrates a few kids. The fix is not pretty once they get it built, and they did, especially they didn't catch the fix before it was manufactured. So that would go in there. So that's in there. There's a couple of these old crank push toys, as one crank toys. I find that those are really effective in getting the parts I need them to understand and the fits that need to happen. It just works to have something that's going to end up being kind of a fun toy to play with. I do a lot of toy design, and it just kind of happened out that seems to work with the students. It keeps them in place. But anybody figure out what the problem is on there?
I mean, the fact you can't put the rod in.
Yeah, that's usually a little problem. That's the problem. Yeah. It's a kind of a difficult one. So that means I have to go through and design how to keep those cams in the right position so they can still slide all together. Then we get to bring in things like keyways and all that good fun stuff. So it does help if they have to solve a problem that you intentionally leave them to discover. And surprisingly, I only usually get about 2 kids that catch this the first round through. And then it's all like, well, that was stupid, and it's kind of fun. So that's in there for you. It took me a long time to find this. And
Great,
again,
nice.
it's, what's up?
Do you still have that bowling alley project?
No, but I don't.
Let me look. I think I saved a picture of it at least, because you did such a good job on it.
Let's see what else is gonna. There's a
I'll
few
make sure
pens
if I-
here,
thank
some
you.
foam volleys. This is my
And
new
pardon
favorite
me
one.
for keeping my headphones on. I'm in a meeting right now with some teachers.
And let's swing it the. Oh, this one. This is my new one. I like things that go boom. This one, we run through the whole thing. You could do buttons on this one, Jennifer, if you want buttons in there. But we then, after we go through this, they have to design a spring-loaded launch
You want
capability inside that barrel.
No, I have access to that one. I was wondering if you
So
had that.
that way they're doing about the same thing you did in McDonald's toy. So they have to figure out some kind of a launch mechanism with a spring. And we just use the springs of all the free ballpoint pens the US military brings in every year. And we appreciate their generosity in donating springs to my cause. So, but that's kind of a fun project too. You can cover a lot of things with Revolve. And this one actually helps prepare them for the SolidWorks certification test really well, because it is a lot of odd shapes to make together. So those are there for you as well. Hopefully that's gonna work. All right. Good, bad, ugly.
Yeah, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So the pirate conference, you were saying 6th and 7th, and Tim's place was available.
Yeah.
So is it, have you talked to Colton just to see if maybe we could just have that be our conference for those that, I mean, because a lot of times there's not really anything for us. We're just kind of hanging out with the junior high teachers and some of the engineering stuff. Would they okay that, just to have that be our summer conference?
We can ask. If I
Yeah.
can get a hold of him. Jennifer, have you heard from him lately?
He just came and visited
Uh,
us.
No, he just sent out, that email for us on that
Friday.
committee. So, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I guess
then-
the ones that weren't on it.
Oh, I have some stuff to share with you later, Jennifer. Actually, I'll start it now.
Our thought on that as well. Let's try to not make it so it overlaps the like the woodworking summer conference, things like that. I know last year I wasn't able to attend the drafting because of just conflict. So I attended woods as opposed to the drafting. I really like to hit the drafting this year.
Yeah, I had to skip the woods one.
Yeah, the whole idea is those are supposed to be separated out so we could go to everything, but somebody quit in the middle of the year and kind of screwed everything up. Let's see who else. All right, so what else can I offer you guys? Is there anything that I can do that, I mean, I'm not in any position of authority whatsoever, but I'm willing to help where I can. The lightsaber project is in there. And I continue to find cheaper ways of doing it. I've switched away from the strips of LED lights, and I've gone to fairy lights now because those will run off of a battery much easier than the big strips. So I'll do some updates on that. I always changing that up, and I'll put in the links to the supplies I use for there. I get the plastic tubing from the same company that makes our good old Christmas candy cane tubes of Hershey Kisses. They're 36 cents a tube. So I usually buy them, a couple hundred of them, but I'll put all that in there so you have all those source resources. And that plastic tubing can be used for a lot of different things. You guys get going crazy with it.
What class do you do that? Sorry, what, Tom, what class do
The
you?
lightsaber,
teach that
I
one?
usually do I usually do that in mechanical 3 because the fits there's quite a few fits on that. But I know Jennifer does it in her mechanical 2 class. It does fit down there. If Star Wars is a popular thing going on right now, like when Mandalorian first started, it worked off really well. And then Boba Fett hit and no one wanted to touch it. So it is kind of one of those projects you got to kind of feel the crowd a little bit with. But once they find out they're soldering and they're putting wires and lights in, they all kind of perk up a little bit because we all know that the electronics programs are rare and far between. I think Tim's got one. Tim, how many are there? There's not that many electronics classes. No one's giving kids solders. So 3 or 4 is all. So the more we can get them to understand how things go together, it just makes a better place for our future and really for the state we have and manufacturers as a whole. So, but yeah, so I'll just keep adding things in there. Someday I'll retire. I'm looking at 84 now as a target date. That's my age, not the year 2084. Might be the same thing, but that's how it's gonna go because there's just no one else. So, alrighty. Well, I've kept you guys at the hour point here, I think. If there's anything else you want to discuss, please let us know. I'm sure Tim's willing to help. Jennifer, I mean, we're all been around enough. We need to support each other, especially as changes are coming. Who knows what our course will look like next fall? Hopefully we'll know before next fall. Yeah, Tim, I'm talking to you guys got on that freaking committee.
Hey, so anyway, as long as you brought that up.
Yeah.
We talked last week and okay, I was going through with the university guys a while back and looking at what aligns where, because one of our schools in the district kind of made a stir because their counselor is kind of not the sharpest tool in the shed. But reading through it, Architecture 2 and Architecture 1 are effectively the same courses. There's just a little more depth in 2.
Yeah.
And we really need to I think we need to, as we're doing this, maybe look at making some adjustments to make Art 2 more about the design, good design versus questionable or poor design, get into a little bit more of the how to make a building that's not just a box, get away from framing, get into some of that stuff because they're hinted at in a couple of the strands, but they're really not even addressed in the assessments.
Right.
We spend too much time doing that. So I'm wondering what your thoughts, feelings, suggestions are about that kind of idea. Anybody?
That's for everybody. When you got a chance to, there's a few people on that committee who are here to voice how you want to see these courses modified and adapted. This is a really good chance to put in what your feelings are on them, what needs to stay, what should go, what should be added.
I'm going to share my screen real quick, Tom.
Okay.
Even naming conventions too.
Yeah. So see, like I've got, I years ago, because I'm always trying to copy and paste off those PDFs they post, I go in and I copy and paste into a Google Doc so I can type on it and copy and paste and make, work around it. So I've got this one I use. I'm looking at it. This is Architecture 2, my editable version. And like, it's just kind of vague. I mean, I got down here to where it talks about the drawing set that the kids should have turned in. It's like, they don't even mention elevations. They don't even mention cabinet millworks. But by darn, we're definitely going to put in electrical and HVAC plans.
Well, yeah.
And that's like plumbing plans. yeah, that's assumed based on where you put your stuff. So I'm like, where should we, what stays, what goes? How do we make this thing so it's more usable?
Do you know when you guys are meeting?
Not yet. At least I haven't seen one yet.
So, do you want to create just a place for people to put comments in, or just have them email you direct? How would you be open to that? Having people
I could
send
make
you?
I could make a digital copy of this
Okay.
that, yeah, I could set so you could be commenters on.
Okay.
And that way because this, like I said, this is mine, and I think I shared it with Jen. I was going to share it with Gary, and who else is on there? Was it Jensen? Jennifer? I can't remember who the other one was.
Yeah, Kent's with us.
Is it
Kent's on that?
who was the other one? I can't remember.
Someone up north, wasn't it?
Am I on the architecture too?
Yeah, you're on both. Yeah.
He just said, I didn't
This said
volunteer, but he
CAD.
just says you want to be on it. I said, sure. So I knew I was doing some CAD stuff. Mechanical.
Yeah, I think we're looking at all the strands and standards for both
Yeah.
mechanical and architecture.
Yeah. For those that aren't teaching the thirds, be generous. Don't cut me off too much.
Yeah.
There's not too many of us teaching those third classes. So
Well, I think third is at least because, like, I'm looking to this, and like this is kind of vague for 2, and I hate the fact that we've got that HUD home in,
yeah.
Yes.
Habitat for Humanity home in there. We don't have any Habitat for Humanity anywhere in Southwest Utah,
No.
so
So
it's useless to us.
give those of you who haven't been involved in this process, it's about to happen. In the past, the state coordinator picked usually 4 to 5 individuals that they felt worthy. Colton did a survey, which is a little unique, but then you'd go in, you'd talk about it, and then the coordinator changes it. Originally, the Architecture 1 class did not have a roof, did not have any stairs, and did not have a garage. So you had one base and no basement. So it was just a slab on grade or a crawl space. And then that came out and changed to the HUD. And that happened with never a change to the revision dates. So those course curriculums changed quite a bit over the years. And the same date stayed on every revision. So the more of us that are involved in giving input, the more likely these courses will be to stay together. Yep. And to stay the way they need to be.
And I'm looking at this one for the Habitat for Humanity here. It's a 20 by 40 starter home with a slab on grade foundation is what it requires. And it's like, okay, unless you're living in St. George, where else do we use slab on grade in the state of Utah? I can get a thickened slab, but it just is slab on grade. It's like, well, that's not going to work.
One thing, I've been sideswiped quite a bit with the test questions. I've about got it figured out on year 5, but a lot of these are really general standards, and then they want, how wide is a 2-car garage door, like that. Like it just totally sideswiped me on a lot of things. Where I was looking at big picture, big theory, big design ideas, and that is not what's on the test. They want to know, measurements, and
well, that's
a lot of that, even professionally, like we look it up.
Yeah.
A 2-car door is either 16 or 18, but is it 7 foot or 8 foot tall? So which one do you pick? And that's kind of a
And they give
Yeah,
you
so I would almost rather revisit the test to match the standards than
that's coming this summer. I
and
understand.
make the standards to match the test.
Yep,
Because I like our standards. I think that's good, but the test questions have really humdingered me and the kids.
I understand the tests are getting revamped this coming summer. That's why we're doing the standards now, so we have the standards in place, and then as we rewrite the tests, everything just follows.
One thing, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and hopefully I don't get shot later this week for saying this. My architecture 1, we covered pretty much all the standards from 1 and 2, and so my architecture 2, I actually have them design a restaurant or a cafe, and we start talking a little bit about ADA and those kinds of commercial things lightly. You know, they're not ready to go out and design a commercial building, but I don't know, my kids have really liked architecture too, having something totally different than just rerunning, hey, you're designing another house again.
So just a question, what happens if you teach 3? Because your 2 is your 3.
I haven't gotten there yet. We keep trying, and part of that has been that with the state shuffling standards, we can't get our feet under us. And as a small school, it's been really hard to get kids through 1 and 2 and then to 3. So we're hoping to add 3 next year.
Can I ask what school you're at?
I'm at White Horse High School. Oh no, don't tell my principal I'm going off the standards.
No, you're actually not. The standards are the minimums. You can go above and beyond on any course. Otherwise, none of us would ever be able to do concurrent enrollment. So the standards are just the minimum. You're fine.
Yeah, so we haven't gotten to 3 yet. I'm not sure what that looks like yet. 1 year at a time here, but I know that my kids have really been enjoying doing the restaurant this year. It's just something new and cool, and then we can touch base on some of those other standards that they're going to see again in 3, that we'll dive in a lot deeper on.
Yeah. Cool. All right, do you guys feel you're getting a voice? That's kind of the most important thing here, getting our voice and getting some help. You guys are just like my kid, just sit there all day long, just sit.
It takes some of us a minute to process. We're getting old.
Oh, well, okay, I'll give you that. Try creatine, it'll wake you up. What my students tell me. Whatever. All right, well, if there's any other comment, we can revisit some of this. Again, the idea is to share what projects you have. A lot of us are also burned out, like our students, looking for new things to add into our courses, and that's kind of the intent here, is to share some of the projects that you're passionate about, and realizing none of us are in the same schools or districts. We're not gonna steal your students from you, but it's all about keeping ourselves motivated, energized, and keep the passion going. So kind of that. And again, we are doing late, so if you do need to leave, feel free to check out. And I have recorded this, and I'll post the recording. I'll send out links probably in the morning after I do a little edits.
Yeah, when we get done, Jen, can you stick around for a minute so I can talk to you? Or do you want me to just call you?
Absolutely. Nope, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so Tom, if you want, I'll set those up to editable, and I'll drop them in that. They'll be Google Docs, and I'll
That'd be great.
put them in there as viewers.
Yeah. Okay.
Or commenters, I should say.
Yeah, that'd be great. Appreciate that a lot. That'll help a lot. Robert, I know you can't hear me much, but yes, I'll send out the recording. And I'm looking at too many screens here at once. You got people doing their own CTSOs, after school stuff, and we want to make sure they're feeling appreciated as well. All righty. Well, again, thank you all. It looks like we've kind of reached the end of our discussion. I feel like I've talked a lot today, but again, if you have questions, you have my email. I'm more than happy to help where I can. I'll get some videos on all through tutorials for Revit. Question about hands-on for architecture. A lot of what I do with the architecture hands-on is we go in, and once they get their 2D drawings done, we go and cut out the exterior walls in the laser. So they end up with a little, basically fits in about a 4x6x5 cube. We'll model just the exterior walls. I don't do interior. We just do a little quick. So they've had something for what they created in AutoCAD. That's my hands-on for that one. And it goes pretty quick because I usually put about 6 kids on a sheet of balsa. Well, not balsa, Baltic birch. You bet. Anytime. Thanks for being here, Ty. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom, for your time.
You bet. Take care, sir. Anytime, sir. We'll do it again. I think we need to communicate more. It's important. We're gonna get railroaded if we don't.
So Tom, I apologize. I've got my mill right here working on equipment that's down in my shop. So I was really late to the game.
No worries.
So I'll go back and watch the recording, what we missed prior, but the biggest thing that I guess I need is some assistance with the ARC 2 as well, and just Revit resources. I think that's about the time I popped in. It seemed like you were talking about that aspect.
So for my R2, I have the kids self-design. So I give them a scope, like how many bedrooms and square footage and floors. And then they start with bubble diagrams on that. And then from there, they have to do 5. Usually 3 is enough, but I make them do 5 because they put up such a fuss about it. And then they have to pick the configuration from one of those. And then I do, if their floor plan layout doesn't match their bubble diagram, I make them redo it. And then from there, they then know it's kind of their design. They go from that. I do keep it under, assume this 2,500 square feet. That seems to be a pretty good sweet spot for that design. And I don't limit on the style. So they can do whatever style they want. During the bubble diagram process, they have an assignment where they have to look at different architectural styles and the characteristics of those. So they start thinking about the end result and how that works. And then we just rush through there just as fast as we can, get everything done. And I do everything from the framing to the electrical. I don't do a plumbing plan because, it's implied, but, and I don't do roof trusses anymore. Every roof truss company says, stop doing this. So we then redo it anyway. So we do a roof plan but not the framing layout. And those project scopes are in that drive for you.
How about the resources for Revit? I'm not a really proficient Revit user. Is there some workshops?
There are if you want to pay for. I think I'll do if I can. I have offered to do some training at our conferences, but the state seems to think the purpose of a conference is to show off their latest, greatest new school, and there's never software or a computer lab available. And I told Colton this several times, if you'll please get me into a room so we can get people on a computer with the software, I'll do the training. And I put that out again. And if not, we'll take care of it at a pirate conference and we'll do some training on it. I am going to get you some guys that I watched on YouTube a lot. My favorite one on YouTube, you have to ignore all of the metric, but it's Balkan Architect. And he puts out a video every single day with some little 15-minute thing about Revit. And I've learned more from him than anything else. And but it's just Balkan Architect, and that's what he does. Every day is a new tidbit on Revit. There's probably about 5,000 videos in his library. He's been doing it for a long time. But I'll put that link in there as well for y'all, and so you can see kind of what's going on there. But that's the first thing I do. I get to school is I turn on his channel and I watch my 50 minutes of Revit motivation, and then I go figure, oh freak, how am I going to teach this? But it works. It's kind of fun. So I'll put that all in there for you.
I'll save out my course content for Architecture 1, and I have videos for that house project.
Oh, good.
And so I'll save that out, and then I'll put a link to my Google folder so you can download all the videos that are linked into that course.
Oh, thanks, Jennifer. Appreciate you doing that again.
So Jennifer, are you using Revit on for ARC 1 then?
Yeah, I use Revit ARC 1 and ARC 2. I only teach the 2 courses.
Okay.
So you did all your 2D mechanical one.
We're getting
ARC 1, everybody does the same house. That's how I teach them. And then ARC 2, that's when we flip it and they do their own design. And then we do all the same plans again, but then now it's their own. And I give them a plot of land, like an acre plot that I have them do, put in with the different north, south, east, west. And then they have to design their house to that plot.
Here's a weird wild hair idea. what if we all were doing the same house, whatever platform for ARC 1, and then the test questions came off of that project, so it's all an even Steven board across the board
Well, that's
assessment.
just stupid nuts.
That'd be nice, yeah.
So,
that'd be really
isn't
nice.
that stupid?
Our problem is, as much as we would like to go to Revit for ARC 1, we're getting a lot of pressure from the concurrent enrollment. The university folks are encouraging us to stick with AutoCAD for ARC 1. So
I have AutoCAD files for the basic house SUU does.
Yeah.
That I also have videos for it.
Yeah.
So it walks the
Right.
kids through. how to do
That's
AutoCAD.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting,
yeah,
because
I understand
UVU
some of that.
concurrent enrollment's all Revit, so.
Yeah. Weaver's going through a readjustment there, right? Ryan, they're re-looking at their courses alignment again. I know it's the interior design girls that want to keep that AutoCAD going.
Yeah. Yep.
So there might be some changes we'll hear about maybe next semester.
okay. Yeah, so we continue to teach AutoCAD, which, you know, I see the benefit of knowing how to do simple line drawings and know how to run AutoCAD, but I have students that come in and they already know Revit and they want to jump to Revit, and I agree with them. I think it's a better training, it's a better education for them to get it in 1 and 2, but
What I do there, Ryan, on that, because I've got the same college connection, is I have them do their main floor plan layout, and I have them do their wall section in AutoCAD, and then import that into Revit and go from there. And that usually gives them enough AutoCAD experience to what they'll need to do in industry right now. Most of what they'll do in industry AutoCAD is going to be red line updates from past files. Hopefully that helps. All righty. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Okay, let's see, who is that? Oh, Tech. Ty, I'll put all the resources into the drive. I'll make a folder just for teacher resources, and I'll put in the videos. And again, you can use them with your students if you want. I'll put videos there. We'll put in oh, what else will we put in there? Anyway, it's in that Google Drive link that was in the reminder from yesterday.
I got a silly question on that too. How do I link this to my drive so that I can then access it through my
All right.
shared drives? Because I can
Tim's gonna help you with that
see
one.
yours.
Yeah.
I probably can Google it and figure it out myself, but you guys are probably smarter than me.
Easiest mode is to star the folder.
Yeah.
So if you just actually, I can show you on my screen. So
That'll
I've
give you
got
too much power.
all of those pieces copied. So they're just in the CAD assignments. They're in this folder. It says strands and standards. I put them in the wrong spot. Probably Tom, you can move it. But all I do is
Okay.
right click on it, star the folder. And then on your Google Drive right here, just hit starred. And there's the stuff you're working on currently. It's just easy to find.
Now, if you want to put it on your actual school drive, your best
Yeah.
thing is to download the whole thing and then re-upload it.
Yep.
Okay.
And this is
Okay.
just easier because that way it's all, as we update, you get it.
All righty. Well, Cody's here. Cody's still around. Yay. I'm now seeing all the names of everybody. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'll be around forever. I ain't leaving anytime soon.
Oh, good. Who are you doing concurrent with now, Cody?
It's still with Weber.
Still with you. Yeah. Who are you doing? Are you doing mechanical with Weaver too?
Yes.
Well, while we're,
I'm out on an island out here. No one ever comes and visits me. I just do whatever I need to do, and
Well,
unless
Weaver
I don't ruffle
never
too many
visits.
feathers, I'm flying solo. So
this spring, SEU is doing their second round of engineering conference. I'll get you the information. You can bring your kids down. It's pretty impressive what they did last year. It's better for me. It's better than the CTSOs. Every kid comes out of there a winner. Last year they built a robotic fish in a day, and it swam. Some more successful than others, but every kid brought a fish that flapped its fin, and they're still talking about that today.
that'd
So
be awesome.
yeah, I'll get the link out, and it's not quite opened up yet, but once it does, I'll make sure everyone knows about that, and we'll swarm SUU for a while, give them a little feel of what it's like to be important.
Any word from Nate about what they're doing this year?
From my understanding, it's an automatic rowboat.
You're sticking with the water theme.
Yeah, but they're doing it in April instead of February, so I shouldn't have a blizzard to go down this time.
Well, last year it froze. It was awesome.
It was great. It took me 7.5 hours to get there. Let's see. Robert, how you doing? Anything I can help you with? I just went to teacher mode.
No, I'm just trying to listen to it here. It's, I just teach one CAD class, mechanical CAD 1.
Okay.
So
What is your what's your main focus then? Because you do one class of CAD. What are your other classes?
oh goodness,
You're one of those.
I teach 1 or 2 classes of physics, depending on the trimester, and then I teach the robotics 1 and programming 1 and ECS.
Wow.
So it's a smorgasbord.
Yeah, it is. That is a spread. Wow. I'm glad I've gotten your head. That's a lot. Well, hang in there, man. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Go give up. Do you guys have a laser engraver?
The shop teacher does down below me here. I've got
Might I suggest you just have the kids design the housing for whatever robotic product you're doing in the other class. And then, so one class is doing the body for the other class that they have to fit in. Might make a little more cross build there for you.
Okay, that'll be fun.
So give them something they can contribute to.
Yeah, I can look at that. That'd be nice.
Okay. Kind of works out kind of fun. Then you can set them up in teams and have them battle each other.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here today.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
thanks. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. See, Dane, I haven't heard from you. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't. I'm just kind of fly on the wall.